Welcome everyone. So this is going to be our fourth video of the research video series. We have covered so far introduction chapter, how to choose a research topic. That's where we started, and then introduction and then literature review chapter. Now we are in the questionnaire part. So in this video, we are going to focus on the questionnaire. And remember, the sample that we are doing is for a quantitative study. So remember, keep that in your mind, not qualitative, quantitative study. So even the questionnaire, we will be focusing on that part as a quantitative study. So we will go and discuss. Okay, now I'm going to focus on 22 questions for this questionnaire. It's going to be very basic and fundamental questionnaire based on quantitative study. Okay, we are going to do a quantitative research. That's why we have structured in this way. So remember that also. Okay, now you should have 22 questions in this questionnaire, right? So I'm going to separate this question into three main sections. What are the three sections? Section 1, basic or geographical questions. And section 2, your independent variable. In our topic, it's the motivation. Motivation is our independent variable. And then the dependent variable. It's pretty basic. Three sections, basic, independent variable, dependent variable. Now, you need to cover 22 questions based on these three sections. Okay, let's go and see. For the first one, basic and geographical sections, I would have four questions. 1 to 4. I would have four questions. What are the questions that you can have? For example, you can ask about age, gender. These are the geographical questions that you can include. Age, gender, maybe experience and department and etc. So likewise, you can have four different questions under basic. This is not related to your variable. Remember? Okay. So now we are done with four questions. Out of 22, we are completed four questions. Now, under independent variable, this is where you have to focus more. Under independent variable, now what are the attributes that you have? So we also had four attributes, right? We have discussed about this in previous videos. So in our sections, we had salary, work-life balance, leadership, and recognition. Yeah, so these four are attributes. Now, I want you to pick four questions each for these attributes. So, four questions for based on salary, four questions based on work-life balance, four questions based on leadership, and four questions based on recognition, right? So, for example, if you want to create a question based on salary, you can have a question like, I believe my salary is matching with the industry standard. Yeah, I believe my salary is matching with the industry standard. So that question can come on salary. So likewise, you can have four different questions related to salary. This is your attribute 1. This is attribute 2. This is attribute 3. And this is attribute 4. So all are related to your independent variable, which is motivation. So we have discussed about this independent variable and attributes before. So likewise, you need to have 16 different questions for each for your four attributes. 4 into 4 is going to be 16. Now we have covered 20 questions so far, right? For example, leadership also you can say, a question like you can say, I believe my supervisor is helping me a lot. So that you can have that question under leadership. Now, under dependent variable, you can have general question. For example, this is your turnover, right? The turnover you can say, I want you to have two questions. So then the question 22 will be covered with these three sections, 16, 4 and 2. For an example, you can have a question like, I'm looking for a new opportunity. I'm looking for a job. I'm actively looking for a new job. Okay, or else you can have, I'm demotivated to leave this organization. Yeah, question like that you can have because this is directly involved with turnover. But general questions, you don't have to link it to the attributes. This is only on turnover, which is your dependent variable. Yeah, so this is you can have maybe 2 or 4 questions. That is no problem. Now remember, this is how you create your question. The structure is very simple. Let's go through that again. Section 1, basic and geographical sections. For that, you can have a gender experience department, industry, and all that. Okay. Section 2, about independent variables. So you will have 4 attributes under those 4 attributes. You will have 4 questions each. And then on the dependent variable, you will have 2 questions covering the second variable is, in this case, is the turnover. So you can have 2 questions. Then by that, you will be done with 22 questions, right? It's very basic. I tried my, fullest way to, explain this in a very simpler way. So now we are done with 22 questions. The main part is that all the answers that you should provide in your questionnaire should be focus on Likert scale, because the reason, so you are going to test these numbers, the whatever the findings or results that you're going to receive, you are going to test this. So because of that, you need to have same set of answers, but same set of answers as in, you can either go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Okay. For example, that the question that I asked, the respondent can choose 1. Or if he's like very motivated, then he can choose number 5. So these set of questions. So now the answer is provided. The answer that you have provided is 1 to 5, right? So up to this part. So this 16 plus this 2 should have the same set of answers. If it's 1 to 5, all the answers should be 1 to 5. It should have a similar manner. I'm not talking about the basic or geographical questions. Okay. So if it's like strongly agree, neutral, strongly disagree, or disagree. If you have included this set of type of answers, then from fifth question to 22nd question, same set of answers should be there. That's the uniformity that you should have. You will realize why we have done that, because when we do the testing part with these softwares, spaces, and all that, it's going to be very helpful. Okay, you won't be able to otherwise find out the results. Okay. So likewise, you should have, remember, keep that in your mind. Don't have different set of answers for each and every. One answer set for this, one answer set for that, and all that. No. So same set of answers should be there from question 5. In this case, from independent variable questions to dependent variable questions, except the basic ones. And this also, don't let them write. Don't write, okay, write your answer. If yes, don't give these options. If it's gender, you male, female, prefer not to say. You provide 3 answers so that they can pick. It is easy for you to quantify and analyze information. Yeah. And if it's experience, don't let them write any number. Okay. So you can have 0 to 5 years, 10 to 15. So likewise, you can provide set of answers. Okay. So this is about the basic structure of your questionnaire. This is going to be very simplest structure of a questionnaire. And we will be talking another important area in this questionnaire in the next part. We will go and talk about that as well. Okay. Now, soon after your questionnaire, there's another thing that you need to work on. This is kind of homework that you have to do in terms of the research. This is additional work that you have to do, or rather prepare. So when you do this, it's going to help you throughout the study. So next few chapters, this work is going to help you a lot. Okay. So I'm going to call it as survey design framework, or even you can call variable mapping table. That doesn't matter. The name does not matter. So make sure you do this work before you start with the next chapter. Okay. Soon after you create this questionnaire, you make sure the questionnaire and this part you should do parallelly, actually, even though I started with the questionnaire. So maybe you can start with this also. Right. What is this table? I have separated into like 1, 2, 3, 6 sections. What is the main variable? The simple way, just like you separated your questionnaire. So the same thing that you have to do, but there are like additional information that you do, including this part. Okay. What's the main variable? Main variable is motivation. For this table, you don't have to bring basic questions or geographical questions. This is only about dependent and independent variable only. So first one is motivation, which is your independent variable. Now the question, we are starting from question number 5. Huh? Remember, that's where so after the basic questions, question number 5 is your main question. So under attributes, attribute 1, what was it? Salary, right? So you can just type A1 within brackets and salary. And what's dimension or subvariable? So you can break down, just you have broken this down into 4 attributes, right? The independent variable. Similarly, you can break this also. You can have subvariables under attribute as well. That is called dimension or subvariable. For example, under salary, you can have annual increment. Yeah, so annual increment. And you should have literature covering this part, salary and annual increment in your literature review chapter. For example, imagine you had a sentence stating Porter suggested that annual increment plays a major part in employee turnover in many companies in the current business environment. That is your literature. So that literature, what you have to do is, along with the in-text citation, which is Porter 2024, you need to copy that whole sentence from your directly from your literature and paste it here. Okay, the sentence should be there as a copy paste directly from your literature. Okay, whatever the sentence that you request, you can have the same thing here. So is this literature is something about these two. Okay, and then question number. Okay, now you need to create questions. So we have created questions. So when you created this question, maybe the questions that you have, either you can here put the question number, question 5, or you can have the full question. Maybe you can have, I believe that my annual increment is like maybe about 10%. I will not leave the company for many years. So something like that. Maybe that is your question. So you can have that question here. Okay. And the last column is your purpose. Purpose starts with 2. What's the purpose of this question? To find out whether salary or annual increment has an impact on the employee turnover. So create the same question into a question, okay, to find out whether annual increment has an impact or significant impact on the turnover, employee turnover, right? So you see, everything is linked. So you have created this questionnaire. Sorry, you have created the question based on this literature. So you have literature to cover the questions that you just created. Yeah. So this question covers, this question is based on this literature, which is already discussed in your literature review chapter. So this question is based on this. So you have the question or the question number, and you know the purpose to find out this, and what is the dimension. If you can separate, you don't have to have dimension. This is not a compulsory thing. If you can break it down more, you can have those sub variables as well. So annual increment in this case, an attribute, of course, salary. So likewise, you need to continue doing so. Salary, maybe the question 6. This is also about salary, right? But maybe you wouldn't have exact literature covering the same, but one literature sentence can cover up to 2-3 questions. That is not going to be a problem. Imagine you have a general statement covering salary, then you can have that sentence here and cover few questions. You can here give 6, 7, 8 is based on this literature sentence. So likewise, that is not a problem. So, but you should have some kind of a literature to cover your question. Okay. So likewise, you need to continue doing so. Motivation, then you will have up to from 5th to 20th question on the independent variable. Then you write employee turnover, that is your dependent variable, and then you will have question 21, 22 here, 21, 22, same thing. There's no attribute here, so these two should be like, you have to leave blank. And dimension also, if there's any dimension, you can any opportunities or anything. And literature, of course, you are having literature covering employee turn also. You can bring that literature here, and also the purpose. Okay, so this would help in the future chapters. So that's why we have done this additional work. Okay, so make sure you do this along with your questionnaire. Okay, I guess this is not that too complicated. Don't worry about these, words, these different type of verbs and everything. Make sure you do this as an additional work, This will help you in the, I'm telling you, trust me, it's going to help you a lot in the final part of the project. Okay, and also I'm going to provide you the full questionnaire covering different type of questions for this particular sample. So you can see that in the screen in a while. So that is about the questionnaire. So I'll see you in the next video. If you have any concerns, you can comment. And also I wish you all the best for your questionnaire. Make sure you structure properly. You think before you start. Okay, don't try to rush anything. Make sure you have a proper structure. You do this homework before you distribute your questionnaire. So we will go to the pilot testing and methodology part in the next few videos.